It might sound silly to think that a simple anime can make you question so many things, but this was definitely the case for me with Death Note. The dilemma of whether killing all criminals in the world would be a good thing or an evil thing. This is exactly what I wanted to look into, the morality of Death Note. This video is not strictly meant for people that have seen the anime. I genuinely love talking about this with everyone. That's why I will try to keep spoilers of the show to a minimum. But if you want to watch it completely blind, you have been warned. The moral dilemma of Death Note starts right at the first episode, when a guy named Light Yagami finds a notebook called the Death Note.
Oh my god, that's the name of the show.
This notebook has the power to kill anyone whose name is written inside of it. Once Light realizes the notebook is real,
Oh shit.
he decides to clean up the world by killing all criminals and becoming the supposed god of a new world. Once the world starts noticing that criminals are dying, a detective named L starts a hunt for Light. This to prevent him from killing more criminals. Because murder is evil, right? Now, whether you're a religious person or not, most of us can agree that after you die, there is no retrying. Death is the ultimate stop to everything. All your dreams, your emotions, your fears, they all just end. Just a simple thought of taking someone's only chance at life would be considered evil for most people. So knowing Light killed thousands of people with his Death Note, he would obviously be evil, right? Well, that's debatable, because he only killed criminals, which could be considered less evil. But then again, not all criminals are inherently bad people. People that steal because of poverty reasons, for example. Or people that get in jail for accidental murder even though they were just defending themselves. Or just straight up falsely accuse people. Light doesn't hold any regard for people like this. He just goes off web pages that supposedly list criminals. That after all are just human. So then it's settled, right? Light is evil and he should be stopped.
Like, look at this motherfucker. How can anyone that laughs like this not be evil?
Or maybe he isn't. You see, if Light is stopped, nothing changes. Crime rates stay the same, wars keep going, and the most horrible crime stories keep happening. Are you okay with that? Now, for someone that might not be very familiar with true crime stories or stories about horrible things humans have done, you might think it's not so bad. So, I'm just gonna give you one crime case example that really has stuck with me for years now. I obviously don't have any footage of this crime though, so I'm just gonna be using random footage I can find that fits what I'm talking about, so bear with me. On the 25th of November 1988, a 17-year-old girl named Junko Furuta was riding back home with her bike, when she suddenly got kicked off by a guy. The guy ran away right after he kicked her off, and she was left startled and confused. A 16-year-old guy came up and approached her, saying he wanted to help. He managed to gain her trust, and they decided to walk home together. She never got home though, because the guy kidnapped her and brought her to a friend's house, where they locked her up in a basement and sexually assaulted her and tortured her. In total, she was being kept there by 4 people, 4 absolute disgusting people. The things they did are absolutely horrifying to listen to. They assaulted her with different types of objects, bottles, light matches, golf clubs, needles, and they beat her up in the most gruesome ways possible. They broke her fingers, broke so many of her bones. She couldn't walk at one point, she was bleeding everywhere. The absolute monsters that kept her there also very often invited friends to assault her with them, to throw up on her, to throw trash at her, and to just straight up basically slaughter her alive. And the worst part is that she had to endure this for 40 days straight. That's right, it took her 40 days to die of her injuries, and during those 40 days she has seen all parts of hell. At one point they even forced her to lie to the police on a phone call, saying that she was totally fine. What's most upsetting about this story is that the people that did this are still walking freely to this day, and this is just one of probably thousands, if not more, stories like this. People like this cause so much pain and suffering to the rest of the world. Would anyone get mad if they just disappeared? Alright, I'm tired of this song, let's switch. Okay, now you guys have gotten an example of how messed up humans can really be. But you might not agree with straight up killing all of them though, because we're locking them up and making it so they can't ever hurt anyone again. But it's only a matter of time before someone else appears and does something even worse. But what if people were too scared to do something horrible like this? Think about it. If every time someone murders, sexually assaults, or is just a straight up monster, they just get murdered instantly. No jail time, no nothing. If you hold on long enough to this, people will stop doing it. They will become too scared because the punishment is way too big. It's true that a lot of people think that killing someone, no matter the circumstances, is always immoral because you need to respect their humanity. And although this is true to a certain degree, it's way too ambitious to think that you can fix the world and fix rotten things about it in a positive, peaceful way. Because the people you are defending by saying this don't respect your humanity like you do theirs. The monsters I talked about earlier didn't see the young girl as a human. They saw her as a thing they could fuck around with. Plus, once the point is reached where criminals are too scared to even be criminals, just imagine how much horrible stories like the one I told you earlier could be prevented. How many people could be saved. What's funny is that when I told someone else this, he replied like this.
But Matthias, won't people feel suppressed?
Yeah, to be honest, they will probably feel suppressed. Suppressed to fucking murder! So, as you can see, Light's plan actually made a lot of sense in a lot of areas. But for the people that have watched the show, you might have noticed that I changed a couple of things about it. Because you see, the way I would do it is by only killing S-rank criminals. This being people that murder, sexually assault, torture. My version of the plan would obviously be less effective than Light's plan, because Light is straight up killing anyone with the label criminal on him, but this is a price I'm willing to pay considering a lot of the people Light is killing probably don't deserve to die, and not all criminal activities are equally worse in my opinion. And he also has a massive god complex, which I also don't support at all. Whether if I could do this myself with a death note is debatable. Primarily because of 3 reasons. If I'm gonna be okay with killing people, I think I should be okay with dying myself. It seems fair. And I'm only 17 right now, and the idea of dying, I don't know about that yet. I don't know. I would probably also feel way too guilty to actually do it. Maybe. And the third reason being that despite everything I said earlier, should anyone really have this much power? Now, personally, I think that if you use it the way I mentioned earlier, yes, I think we could really use someone that does this. It wouldn't be for free though, because I think that if you decide to follow a plan like this, you would be sacrificing a big part of your humanity and your morality. You would be throwing away your morals and actively telling yourself that you are allowed to judge over others. Which, if you think about it, is definitely not a trait you would think of when visualizing a good person. But then again, with the state of the world now, maybe we do need someone to make that sacrifice for us. Maybe we do need someone to throw away their humanity for the rest of us, so that we can keep thinking we are good people, while still living in an almost crime-free world. After all, if Light's plan ends up working, he would be the only true criminal left. Anyway people, that about wraps up the video for today. I hope you guys liked it. Did you agree with my points? Did you disagree? Did I give you a headache? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully I see you guys in the next video.